We're about halfway through 2023, so what games do we have left to look forward to? Hello and welcome to RetroCade. We've got you covered with 10 titles set to release in the second half of 2023. Also be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to not miss out any videos. Please keep in mind that video games are frequently delayed, and surprise games may be announced. As a result, publication dates are subject to vary.
There is a house in
At number 10, we have Alone in the Dark. Stranger Things actor David Harbour will play the role of investigator Edward Carnby in this recreation of the original game. Meanwhile, Jodie Comer from Killing Eve will take over as Emily Hartwood, the woman who has hired Carnby to investigate his uncle's death, while she delves deeper into her family's dark mystery, the Hartwood Curse. This remake retains the core components of the early Alone in the Dark games, particularly the iconic melee mechanic. The original Alone in the Dark is a huge success, because it invented some of the game mechanics that we see in many other games, like fixed camera for 3D spaces, the way mystery is investigated, all Alone in the Dark's creation. We later saw it in the games like Resident Evil, which you may have heard of. It's satisfying to see how far it's progressed. The game is set to release on PlayStation 5, Windows, and Xbox Series X and S on October 25th. PayDay 3 is ranked 9th. We know it's set in New York. Our notorious PayDay team is back in action after retirement, as the story picks up where it left off. You're doing crime heisting activities with your crew, collecting more loot, more money, and bigger levels this time. You can also bargain with the cops by using the hostages who have been tapped in that building with you. As a result, you must handle the hostages while also robbing a bank or a museum. It appears to be quite cool. There isn't really an online shooter like the PayDay series, so we're interested to see what they accomplish with this one. Plus they're offering it at a lower price, which is pretty great, and it'll also be cross-platform and cross-generation. So you can play on any platform and with anybody you wish. The game is scheduled to be released on September 21st, 2023.
I'm glad you're on this case with me, Anderson.
Alan Wake 2 is ranked 8th. Alan Wake 2 is becoming increasingly insane. They're going full survival horror this time, which is excellent for the series. It appears to play and control very much like a Resident Evil 2 remake or Resident Evil 4 or something similar, and it's a lot of shooting bad guys with flashlights like in the original Alan Wake, but with a much better feeling, but also with a strong emphasis on detective work and solving mysteries. You'll be taking on the roles of two different people, Saga Anderson and Alan Wake.
What's your name?
Jumping around, doing investigations, and I'm really curious to see how this plot will thread its way through things, because that's where Remedy truly excels in the storytelling aspect. Hopefully it'll be good, and hopefully it'll be the perfect creepy fall game, because it'll be released on October 17, 2023.
Like I saw it in a dream.
At number 7, we have S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, Heart of Chernobyl. We've already talked about it a lot, but this game should eventually be released this year, after a long development cycle, and I think it deserves all the time in the world since it's like the follow-up to the original S.T.A.L.K.E.R series, one that for PC fans kind of burns the new genre. These games are incredibly unique. It's not just a first-person post-apocalyptic survival shooter, it's a little brainier, and it appears that those elements are carrying over to S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 here, with a lot of investigation, scientific elements, discovery, and really figuring out anomalies, as well as of course just shooting bad guys and customization and all that stuff. This one has a lot of potential, and it's currently scheduled for December. Now next over at number 6, we have Lords of the Fallen. This is a follow-up to the Lords of the Fallen from a few years ago, the Souls-like game that was really good but didn't really change the world or anything. This one though looks absolutely crazy. It looks like they're going buck wild this time around with crazy monsters, cool lore, and over-the-top characters. That said, this new Lords of the Fallen, developed by newly formed HEXWORKS studio, is looking to put new stamp on the genre, as the first truly next-gen Souls-like. Thanks to visuals powered by Unreal Engine 5, an ambitious parallel realm mechanic, and a release that leaves previous gen consoles in the dust. Lords of the Fallen is set to release on October 13, 2023.
Continue to endure these dark days.
Hidden one.
Now next over at number 5, we have Assassin's Creed Mirage. This is the one that's built as kind of like a throwback to the original games, you know, the Altair Ezio style games, because it's centered around essentially one city and a surrounding area. It's got social stealth, single assassination missions and simple parkour. It's not an endlessly vast huge open world RPG, like the more recent Odyssey or Valhalla. This is going a little bit back to the basics. Now I'm curious to see if it can do anything with that formula. By bringing it back to basics, I think this has the potential to be like a good shake-up for the franchise, especially specific types of fans like us. But we'll have to see for sure when the final product releases. It's dropping this fall, October 5th, 2023.
Time to wake up.
Now next over at number 4, we have Mortal Kombat 1. This thing looks absolutely insane. As trailers and character reveals start to really trickle out, we get to see where NetherRealm is really doing here. This is a kind of rebooted but also remixed Mortal Kombat world. We've gotten a story arc of like a whole adventure with the classic Mortal Kombat characters for a while now, so things are kind of completely been reset by Fire God Liu Kang after the crazy event for the last game, and he's crafted this new universe, which features classic characters and totally new interpretations and situations and alliances. It seems like it's going to make for some crazy things. Just keep it fresh and interesting. It's either going to piss off fans or thoroughly entertain them, but regardless, the combat looks awesome. Using cameos and other players to jump in and help you, as well as crazy new over-the-top aerial combos and lots of gore. As of right now, it's releasing September 19, 2023. Next, over at number 3, the big one, the big question mark, Starfield. This is Bethesda's next big game. It's very interesting specifically because it's the first time they're not just making a new Elder Scrolls or a Fallout in a while. Games take so long to make, and they've been making the same thing for many years. So for them to set out and try something new and really make something that they want to make, we definitely want to see what this is about. A lot of people were billing it as Skyrim in space. Some people say I don't want that. Some people think that sounds like the perfect recipe. This game has a lot. Explorable planets, big cities, randomly generated vast planets for resources, base building, ship building, character customization, space battles, dog fighting. It's incredibly ambitious, and we're curious to see if Bethesda can really need that. There's a lot of people who are incredibly hyped for this one, and there are some people who are a little bit more divided.
To discover what's out there.
Starfield is launching on September 6, 2023. Next over at number 2, we have Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora. The Avatar franchise is absolutely huge. It is one of the bigger, more popular franchises for a reason, and it's right for a video game. It practically is a video game. This totally makes sense, and what Ubisoft is essentially doing here is applying some of their Far Cry first-person shooter open-world stuff to Avatar. You play as a Na'vi, who was born on the planet, was ripped away from their home world and trained as a soldier, and then escapes and goes back to rediscovering their roots. So essentially that means you are a native Na'vi, who knows how to use a gun. So you're using guns, you're also using your bow and arrow, you're embracing your abilities as a Na'vi. You're running faster, you're jumping higher, and you're also riding mounts. You're flying through the air. You're riding across the plains of this new territory of Pandora we haven't seen before. And it seems like this could be pretty cool. Pandora is just a cool planet, and I would like to experience it. Very curious to see how Ubisoft actually handles this whole thing. I mean, Ubisoft has received a lot of rightful criticism in the past. So we get to experience this game seemingly December 7th, 2023.
One who could push me.
Now next over at number 1, we have Marvel Spider-Man 2. We're finally seeing this one heavily detailed, and you're switching between Peter and Miles in real time, going on adventures through a bigger New York City with an expanded Queens and Brooklyn, which I think is incredibly exciting because we haven't seen those games really represented well in video games in a minute, not to mention Insomniac's world building, but then of course, it's symbiote Peter Parker. So there's a lot of ramifications for that, from a combat and story perspective.
This whole lizard hunt ends now!
And of course Venom is one of the big bads as well as Kraven the Hunter. Kraven's also getting a movie, and he looks awesome in this game. We really like the Insomniac Spider-Man games, so we're hoping this one just kind of continues that train. Keeps it rolling. It's releasing October 20th, 2023.
I got the jet skis.
Well, that's it for this video. Tell us what you think in the comments. See you on the next video.